Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nina, Executive Director of TOVA Community Health. Welcome back. I have a treat for you. We have just set up a new platform called TOVA Talk Series. It is the newest platform for TOVA Health TV. And what is so exciting about this is that we are going to bring on mini lecture talk series, which was created to engage with leaders and scholars who have advanced health and healing in our community. TOVA's goal is to highlight these exceptional individuals and provide a platform to learn about their innovative research, their services, their products, and their technologies. And backed by popular demand, we have Dr. Charlie Ware. He is the CEO of Healing Blends, and he is the creator of Evenflo. He has a philosophy of serving patients. He is an epigenetic high performance coach. He's a functional medicine practitioner and an herbalist. Dr. Charlie Ware can be reached at www.drcharlieware.com. And he was also on season 3 of TOVA Health TV, where he talked about health and longevity. You can find this talk series on YouTube or on our website at www.tovacommunityhealth.org. I'm just going to bring up this slide just so that I can share about Dr. Charlie Ware. Dr. Charlie Ware has a passion for health and healing, and this drives his research in his company. Over 2 decades of his career, he has a goal of staying rooted in the community and finding the most efficacious ways to help underserved populations. Dr. Ware has studied medical principles from over 5,000 years ago to the modern techniques on affecting the DNA through genetic and epigenetic coaching. His goals are to help his clients reach optimal health and live their best lives. He is also a consultant, helping people from all professions, including sports figures, entertainers, ministers of health, Grammy Award and Oscar winners alike. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Charlie Ware to the TOVA Talk series.
Love it.
Welcome, Dr. Ware.
Thank you so much for having me. This is always a pleasure, being a part of something that is such a passion of yours, as well as, seeing your passion to serve the community. So thank you so much for inviting me. It is my pleasure.
So what do you have for us? I know that we were sharing that in 2006, the World Health Organization recognized sickle cell disease as a global public health problem. And the United Nations and other countries will be celebrating World Sickle Cell Day on Monday, June 19th. June 19th every year, but this year it will be Monday, June 19th, 2023, to raise awareness and support those suffering from sickle cell disease to help them achieve their full potential. Your company has several offices across the country and world, and you have worked with ministers of health and NGOs to bring our condition-specific supplements that you use for those who do not have access to quality care. So
Yes.
I'll let you talk, Dr. Ware.
So yes, thank you for that. My passion for serving this sickle cell community is something that it starts with a personal touch. I have sickle cell beta thalassemia myself. So it was kind of a selfish journey for me to even get on this pathway, but it's been a beautiful yet challenging pathway. As I tell people, things are not, complicated. It's usually complex. So it's how we actually sort of look at it. And the plight that we are facing now is essentially, how are we going to continue to educate the millennials on how to raise a child with sickle cell disease, or even how we're going to start to turn those numbers backwards as well. So essentially what we've done with Healing Blends Global is to create, supplements to allow individuals to not experience crisis as often. And this has been research. I'm going to share the research with you in a few seconds, and talk you through it and the reason behind even doing a double blind study with the supplement as well. But essentially, with sickle cell disease, United States, we're like the low man on a totem pole when it comes to sickle cell disease. Even though individuals here, we have some of the best healthcare, theoretically in the world, is still a huge disparity. There are very few treatment options, as well as no one is really speaking about, as I will call root cause situations. In fact, actually, I got in trouble. That's the intro because it was a little debate on social media when I was telling individuals about what was the root cause of sickle cell disease, and it was like, oh well, the cells just sickle, they go flat, they don't have any nutrients. I was like, yeah, but there's a cause behind that. Yeah, there's a genetic cause as why that's even happening. So to even go back further, and I sort of tell people it's like looking at your favorite movie, and then they have those other prequel movies that sort of show how all those things really happen and what led that person to have that type of life. This is what we're looking at now from a genetic model and looking at CRISPR and being able to understand how the genome really works. The fact that it really needs bioactive nutrients to really make sure that the body is going to be optimal health. And how do we get those bioactive nutrients? Through our foods, and largely through even herbs as well. So when I was looking at all the types of options out there 20 plus years ago, there were none. Hydroxyurea was still just new on the stage. And I was like, ooh, whoa, that was kind of crazy, kind of weird. Subsequently, I actually went to a crisis myself when I was in medical school. And this was medical school. Now I dropped out, went to actual natural medical school as well, studying, naturalistic medicine and things there. So I had a crisis there as well. And no one knew how to treat me. And I was like, wait, you guys are doing natural medicine. You just know how to treat everyone. And I realized that no, there's holes that, I feel like my purpose was to fulfill these voids. And it's been hard. It's been very, very hard to make individuals understand that by eating well, I have 4 pillars of health. It's like eating, sleeping, exercise, and also supplementation. Those 4 pillars of health are the same 4 pillars of health that we've even seen allowing the genetic code to be expressed efficiently. And actually, back 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I wrote a book with a group of friends of mine about the code of longevity. And that's when we really start to research and find that those 4 things, sleep, exercise, diet, and stress management were the 4 things that actually control health throughout the entire body. So when I got into, even before I got into all the genetic stuff, I was just trying to figure out how to make sure that we as sickle cell patients or even sickle cell advocates are able to educate our patients, but also live the lives that we want to live fully. As a sickle cell beta thalassemia, individual, I've been able to do everything I want in my life. I've been a mixed martial arts fighter. I played AAA baseball. I've traveled the world. I have 4 kids, and I very, very, very rarely experienced pain. And yes, I'm a very busy man. I'll tell you about some of the craziness that I do. But the same token is the basis of my life is my 4 pillars. Is really understanding how my stress is being managed, how I control my diet, how I control my sleep, and I just move my body on a daily basis, to make sure that that's well. But when patients can't see me, 101, how was I able to really elongate that? So as we're talking about it, Evenflo is a combination of 12 herbs and natural substances that allowing your body to actually be its best. And when I say be its best is because of the fact that when I was looking at formulating Evenflo, this final product right here is probably formula 23 or 28, because I was looking at it from different perspectives. Can we increase hemoglobin? Can we, stop pain? Can we stop infections? Can we allow more phytonutrients inside the body? Can we stop inflammation? I mean, can we prevent? Can we treat? It was all these things. And the first thing I actually came up with was a system. It was, a system of treating individuals that, before, when you're well, you're trying to maintain health and trying to just live your daily life, what could we do and take to just maintain that? And then what if you had a crisis? There's another system for that. And then after you recover, there's another system for that. And then when I start looking at economics behind it, I'm like, okay, wow, I can sell this one system of 3 or 4 different bottles of different things for, $120. And it was like, wait a minute, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to, put individuals in a financial bind. And I want to make sure that is affordable for as many individuals as possible. So that's when I went back to the drawing board and sort of dropped out a lot of potential investment individuals that wanted to come in and invest, and said, I'm going to do this on my own because I'm trying to really help this community. So that's when we created Evenflo. And Evenflo, the beautiful thing with Evenflo is everything I desired, we were able to, by the grace of God, let me say that first and foremost, was to put in this one bottle. So it helps to maintain health. But it also, in the case of a crisis, you take it, every hour or so, one dose of it, every couple of hours, and can help prevent crisis as well. But with this research, you can also see that individuals that were taking it, and this was a study that was done with children in Kenya. This is actually, or I should say, it was in the Nursing Health Science Journal here in Baptist Health. This is our, I think, 12th one, but we actually have some other research going on in Nigeria and also Kenya again, Uganda, Cameroon, I think Ghana as well. I'm sorry, it's so much going on, but it's all beautiful. I'm well organized, but right now I'm trying to do the presentation, so it's not even top of my head. But the premise of even doing other research along with this was for children, 5 to 12 years old, but we have done it on adults as well. And what we've done with the research with this particular one was essentially the only supplement that they tell sickle cell patients to take is what? Folic acid. But the dosing of that has never been intact. And I've always said, like, listen, I'm not trying to fight the hydroxyureas out there because, that is what it is. But if you said you're going to prescribe a supplement to try to help these sickle cell patients out, and in some countries, they only get folic acid and that's all they have. I said, well, how about we go up against folic acid? Just do a double blind study. So individuals would just take folic acid and individuals just take Evenflo. And the results were astounding. To the point where this was supposed to be a 4-year study, and we're not supposed to unblind early because it'll, mess up the data, whatever. But it was done for 6 months because actually I didn't like the fact that some of these children were still suffering so deeply while they saw the others thrive. So it was a 93% success rate. And if you see some of our data online, it'll go from anywhere from 90% or 85% or 97%. Those are just a different model, different things that we've done, different studies, and we will start releasing data before we go back and correct things. So I used to tell people over 90% success rate in all of our studies across the board. And it's still happening even now today. And some of them, we actually are 100% success rate. And these aren't studies that I'm paying for directly out of my own pocket. A lot of these governments are asking for different ways to treat their patients. And we'll give you the supplements, and we have clinics who do their own supplements. And in fact, actually going through several validations right now. And that's essentially saying that the government wants to validate these results are really true. So they can now start purchasing for their population as well. So we're very, very excited about that. And the purpose of doing that essentially is really, and COVID was a horrible thing, but something good came out of it. A lot of governments are now actually trying to use natural things to help with the healthcare, dispensaries as well. So a lot of governments have now, earmarked a lot of money to help find different natural solutions for chronic or even acute situations as well. So we were part of that fold now and being looked at by so many different governments to basically prove what we're doing is actually correct as well. So just as goes through the steps a little bit. So, it gives a breakdown of what's actually in sickle cell disease. My goodness, I keep wanting to say that. I don't know, like, what's actually in Evenflo. So the active components of Evenflo, really is the attractor lotus, the cordialis, we call it the jujube, the pororio, the salvia, the white peony as well. These are all, Western names or Latin names for different herbs. And when you start to look at the bioactive components of these individual herbs, they're anti-inflammatory. Some actually have been proven to actually increase hemoglobin or the production of red blood cells, inside the body as well. A lot of them are not just anti-inflammatory, but also deals with pain. But how does it really treat pain? Is more of an inflammatory situation that it is able to sort of deal with the inflammatory rate of it, but also is able to actually increase pain thresholds too. So that's one reason why we're able to sort of show that is it has a lot of efficacy without causing any of the side effects. And the one that everyone's always tripped up on, is the salvia. Salvia has 174 different species of salvia. Salvia, some people have overused it and cause hallucinations and things of that sort. That's not the salvia that we actually use. The salvia that we use can cause no inflammation. In fact, actually, we find that this is phenomenal for oxidative stress. And why is that important for a sickle cell patient? Because they have so much oxidative stress. In fact, the research shows that the metabolism rate of the average sickle cell patient is 1.25 that of a regular individual. What does that basically mean? We produce cells a lot faster and they die off a lot faster than the regular normal population. So with ingredients inside of there that's helping to reduce the oxidative stress and actually scavenge a lot of that oxidative stress, it basically means that it helps eat it up and get rid of it and help your body detoxify of it. It's going to allow your body to be a lot less inflamed, a lot less weighed down with other things, internal stress as well as external stress as well. So it was amazing. So then we look at the sample size. So it was pretty decent sample size. We originally started with I think 300 plus patients, but we whittled that down to 76 patients. I think in this one, those reason why I'm saying I guess because I'm reading it, but I'm not really reading it because I have several research projects in my head right now. I apologize. And again, there was the age between 5 and 12, and they had to have active sickle cell disease and had several crises within, the actual year itself. So we're measuring VOC, vasal occlusion crisis rate. The quality assurance was actually put in place. So yes, we had the efficacy board for the country of Kenya. It was done at the teaching hospital there. In fact, it was the one that former President Obama sort of built and sponsored as well. So that was that. And again, the total of 120 sickle cell children. And again, we had a phenomenal. Even though I've been doing this for about 15 years now and seeing the research, it still astounds me that when I see 93% of the patients just do phenomenal. And I say this because of the fact that even the one patient that did not, meet our criteria, basically means that had one crisis. Actually, it wasn't even a crisis. They actually had diarrhea during the course of the actual study as well. But unfortunately, you have almost 100% fail rate for the folic acid. And why is that? It's only because of the fact that folic acid, we know it does not do what we assume is going to do inside the body. And again, look at the ingredients of Evenflo is one of those things where is really feeding the body. And then we look at it from a genetic standpoint, going back to looking at how the genetic code or the genome itself, what it needs inside of it to really function efficiently. Back in our book, my chapter was actually on bioactive nutrients and its role to longevity. And what I found was, the herbs were really allowing our brain to grow more faster than individuals, because the study I compared it to was individuals that lived along the seashore versus individuals that lived along the plains, and how the brain development was actually more rapidly happening with individuals who had more of a diverse, diet, with the herbs and things of that sort, versus the individuals only having the protein and a few veggies here and there. But when they had a diverse, amount of fruits and veggies and herbs and lots of little bits of meat here and there, their brain and also their body actually had a long longevity rate. Individuals who were in their planes too. And these research studies have been shown for many years. So when I combine that with looking at what happens with Evenflo inside the body, I'm like, it's a no brainer for me. It really is a no brainer. So who's a great candidate for Evenflo? I'm sorry, I'm just going through some of the charts and the rates and things there. So because the other thing that we also measured was weight and height. So individuals in the control, their weight stayed the same or they even lost weight. Individuals on Evenflo actually got gained more weight by a rate of, I think, 8 pounds as well. And then as far as height, individuals in a control group stayed the same height for the most part. Individuals in the control in a sickle cell group, Evenflo group, actually got taller by almost 2 inches as well. So it shows by even supplying the bioactive nutrients out the body, what happens is the body's going to start to thrive more than just trying to survive. And the key there is the fact that it's just that right there is really showing the fact that you need bioactive nutrients in order for your body to really do all the things it's supposed to do. And with Evenflo, having the combination, so dialed in as we do, it's been, like I said, this is a formula maybe 23 to 20 to 28 that I've experimented with myself, mostly, but something that's able to maintain health on a long basis. There's been times where I have to fly. If I go to Africa, the flight is, forget about it. It's hours and hours long. I am always a little bit nervous, but then once I start to, really take the Evenflo myself on a daily basis and the same protocol that I give to my patients, hey, 4 days before, take, one every 4 hours. And then when you're on your flight, move around, take it, drink water, no crisis, no side effects at all. I mean, I used to live in California and flying back and forth from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's a 6-hour flight. I have no issues at all, and I love it. But it's not just about me. It's really about what we'll be able to help with most individuals. And what we've seen even here in private practice, the reduction of hospital stays, if you've gone in the hospital once or twice a year, maybe once every 5 years, we see most patients who are doing the things that we're asking them to actually do. Individuals that have had issues with, pain medications and all these other things, once we're able to really get their lifestyle dialed in a little bit better, they've been able to maintain a beautiful lifestyle. Are we 100% successful? No, the research shows that we're not going to be, because everyone has a different need, But however, what we've been able to show just with this study and also the subsequent ones as well, has been just the fact that once you have something in your body, you're less likely to go into a crisis. Even individuals that are taking hydroxyurea, they're taking the Evenflo as well, and they're seeing that they're doing a lot better with even the combination. So it's something that, again, that's been near and dear to my heart. But what I also want to share with you guys, if I can pull it up, I know I can't because knowing me. There we go. Being a good boy already. So this is the protocol I actually set up. Are we going to go into the slideshow? No. So this is one of the things I wanted to set up and show individuals when you do go into a crisis, what do I give my own patients? And this is like, people pay me a lot of money to get this information sometimes, but, this is what individuals that, are in active crisis, trying to prevent a crisis, AVN complications, which we know about 30 to 40% of individuals with sickle cell disease actually do have. Trying to control daily pain levels. Individuals with sickle cell, you should not be in pain on a daily basis. You should not. There's an underlying reason why that's happening. You got to look at diet, lifestyle, back to my 4 pillars of health. You got to look at those on a daily basis. What are you doing to improve those? So here we go. So why? Decrease pain levels, move and recover to recovery phase as fast as possible, avoid drops in the hemoglobin rate, which is major. I forgot to even mention inside of the actual study itself, the hemoglobin rate and the folic acid basically stayed the same. Ours went up on the average 2.8 points, as well. I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. That was also a major one, Another question I always get is, like I had one today, someone was like, I've been giving my child Evenflo for the last 6 months, their hemoglobin is barely gone up. What's the issue? I'm like, well, you got to understand that your child's been on antibiotics for the last 5 years. We got to clean the gut up, because if you have a bad gut, the microbiome has a huge rate of causing hypoxia in individuals, especially with sickle cell disease, if you have any sort of dysbiosis. But that's another conversation, another meeting as well. So these are all the things that I've been researching and trying to show individuals we can get healthy, guys. If we really, really try, we can all get healthy. I promise you. The other thing is restore the function of the parasympathetic nervous system. That means that at fight or flight type situation, make sure people are nice and relaxed as well. Control the emotional responses in pain and discomfort, and avoid organ and other system damage as well. So first, how do we identify what kind of crises there are? Neurological, spasm, acute chest, etc. Right. So yes, there are different types of crises, and what most individuals don't realize, a lot of times you're in a spasm crisis. If you go to the hospital, I don't care what they give you, is not going to work. So you have to really figure out how to really get yourself out of there a lot faster. You usually throw some magnesium inside there, 400 milligrams every 3 or 4 hours. And I will say this until you actually go and have diarrhea in the bathroom. If you're having a crisis, then that will usually break that cycle as well. And also combine that with Evenflo too. So pain control. This is what I always do, guys. Is Evenflo 2 capsules every 2 hours until the pain subsides. And yes, you could exceed the 20 pills a day. Only thing that's going to really happen, as I just said, you may have diarrhea, and that's usually a side effect that we want, because that shows that everything is now relaxed enough where the body is going to release something. The same thing for Evenflo Junior. Also, still give the chlorophyll. With the Evenflo as well. Want to combine with the chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is very, very close to our own, heme, the hemoglobin itself. Except for we don't in chlorophyll doesn't have the iron. It actually has a magnesium ring inside there, which is also very, very important for detoxification as well. And I also still give zinc twice a day. Zinc is going to allow the zinc levels to sort of stay high and not potentially cause an infection. What we see with a lot of sickle cell patients, you go into the hospital, then all of a sudden acute chest syndrome happens, because all their micronutrients are all thrown off whack, and now that can actually seep in as well. Also suggest possibly soaking in Epsom salt, using a heating pad or warm compress to also help. And also, where the pain is located, you can use magnesium oil sprays as well. And then how else do we do it? The room setting. I prefer to have it at a comfortable temperature, and also the dinner light. It's almost like when someone's giving birth, I say, listen, be as relaxed as possible, because again, the more relaxed your body and your mind is, the easier you are to deal with the pain as well. Hydrate with drinking herbal teas, nothing caffeinated, like coconut water, or you can have electrolyte water, nutrient dense water. So even green juices as well. As I said before, no sports drinks or sugary drinks or caffeinated drinks as well. Your diets be easily digestible foods like clear broths and soups, or even baby food. Stay away from mucus causing foods like dairy, greasy foods, or saturated fats. Yes, you can get the massage. Get massaged lightly, and also please try to stretch, because remember that your muscles and your arteries and veins are all located around the same area. The more you stretch, the more you'll be able to pull some of those crises or some of those stuck blood vessels, red blood cells out of the body as well. Sleep as much as possible, right? And then even after you recover from this, it's a whole thing with that as well. But just sleep as much as possible, and then try to get your mind off of it by journaling. Logging events that happened before. Your emotional state, the weather. To try to start keeping journals of how you even got to this crisis. I actually myself, I went to a crisis last October, November, something like that. It was the first time I actually had when I say a full crisis, probably in the last 15 to 20 years, where I actually took my protocol myself, where I was taking it every couple of hours. And it hurt very, very badly, by the way, but I knew why, because I had just started a bunch of research stuff. I was going through some contract negotiations, and I was going through all of this, and no sleep, and Then at that time I was also coaching travel baseball with my son, and we were having games every weekend, and it was crazy. Yes, I was still eating proper, I was still exercising. My stress ratio was just through the roof, and my body said, no, you need rest. And I rest for the last for 3 days, and then I rest for another couple of days, and then I felt great. So I knew what had happened, and now guess what I do? I cut out all that stuff. I've relaxed a lot more, and I hired more people to help me with some more things as well. And my staff thinks I'm crazy, but I'm harder on them when they keep throwing things back to me. I'm like, no, this is your job. I'm not going to do your job, or I can find someone else to do it. And I say it like that because I cannot be stressed. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to be the best that I can be for everyone that really needs my help, in my opinion. Right. So that's how you got to also do it as well. All right. This model was designed to help you get through a crisis and prepare yourself for basically getting into a relaxation and getting you back to your life. So what I tell people with maintenance, what happens is I say, even after you stop feeling the pain, still take the Evenflo and the chlorophyll for the next 4 days, like 4 times a day until you feel normal, and then go back to the regular doses just twice a day. But this is the purpose of me creating Evenflo, guys. Is not because of the fact that I saw a market, I want to jump into it. I saw the fact that most individuals didn't have any options. They're not being told, on how their diet should be. They're not being told how they should rest to have maximum health. They're not being told, folic acid really isn't the answer for sickle cell disease. There are other things that you can do or can do to make sure that you're going to have a beautiful life. I'm not, by myself. I have friends of mine that, play rugby, play soccer, play football, play basketball professionally with sickle cell SS or beta thalassemia, and have a beautiful life because we understand there's so many different things you can do to heal your body and not just take, a medication. Medication is designed to just sort of, calm things down to the point that you can do other things to heal yourself. And we need to look at it from that perspective, not rely on a medication. There's things that we can do to make ourselves healthy, not just short term, but also long term. So thank you so much. And I hope you got some information out of this. Sorry if I was talking a little fast. I know I talk fast, but hopefully the words on the screen was able to, give you some pointers and some ways to actually go through it. I'm very, very proud of my research. And if you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me at drcharlieware.com. Same thing with my social media, Dr. Charlie Ware at IG, and also on Facebook or Meta as well. Or you can even call the office at 954-458-5999 if you want to make an appointment. If you want to talk to me about something, you still got to make an appointment. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ware. I always learn so much from you. I was taking notes down, and it's just so impressive, your work. And I hope that you can continue on because so many people have had such an impact on your level of expertise and the level of rigor, even in your scientific research that you are able to share to the community. And I know it was such a challenge getting it published as well. As, I mean, I know that, even with my research that, back when I first started, no one wanted to publish anything on sickle cell disease. Yes. So we've come a long way, but naturopathic approaches to treating patients is probably like foreign to some people, especially here in the United States. For the sake of time, I just had a couple questions for you. And so you talked a lot about sickle cell naturopathic care making a global impact. Can you tell the viewing audience, how do you think you've made a global impact on caring for individuals with sickle cell disease?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I mean, first, I would say I feel like I have not made a large enough impact, but what I would say is I know my heart God's blessed me to be able to have a voice, be able to use my condition as a platform as well. I recall being embarrassed about it, or not wanting anyone to think I was lesser than. So I try to have individuals speak up about it, but also, really with the research showing individuals that there's so many different ways to really treat your body well, and not having to fear that, am I doing enough as well? There's so many parents that I see that, they thank me because their kids have never had a crisis, in 12 years, or 5 years, or whatever it is. And they've only been, following our regimen. And that's very important for me, is to make sure that they understand what to do if there is a crisis, how to prevent, but also how to continue to live the best life that they can possibly live. So that's the impact that I see I've made. And then, as far as like contributing, we did build the first sickle cell hospital in Uganda, and also that's the first sickle cell hospital in East Africa. And I'm very, very proud of that. That wasn't just me, it was Healing Blends Global's, project. It was an idea that I spearheaded, but it was really something that I see that there is a need, because no one's really, putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to this disease. So I say, you know what, if no one's going to do it, I'm just going to do it myself. And when we all thought about it, we said, okay, this can get done. And I was happy that we all agreed that we can get it done. After a lot of prayer and things of that sort, we were able to really put our resources together and at least get this going with the proper testing there. We had a lot of great support from the Ugandan government, as well as the local kingdoms there. And other than now, it's been several years. It's been online now. At first it was rough, and still is rough. People, not really believing that is their form, because we make everything affordable for them. And when I say affordable, the government is charging them $20 to get a test done. We charge 5 or 10. So we make it even cheaper than what the government even charges them if they're able to afford it. So, that's the impact I'm trying to make, with that. And also the clinics we also have launched as well, is just really trying to make a local impact to make sure that people know that we're there to help them, not take away from them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ware. And I just want to say that I see slowly that the community is embracing Evenflo and looking at alternative treatment options, and um, embracing supplements to enhance their care. So my last question is, we still today do not have a lot of treatment options to control or stop hemolysis, sickling, vasoconstriction of the blood cells, the hemolysis causing a lack of oxygen and nutrients to be able to be circulated to our tissues or organs in our bones. We have gene therapy clinical trials ongoing. Where do you see naturopathic medicine getting into the sickle cell space?
Yeah. It goes back to like my earlier statement, to really having, the community understand the genome itself. Gene editing is something that we hope and pray is going to be successful long term. I still think it's too much in its infancy stages to be doing what we're doing right now. And I say that because we already know that you mess with one aspect of the genome, it can affect every other aspect of it. So, even if we screen for different cancers, things of that sort, we don't know if another condition may pop up because of that manipulation of that one gene. So that's the only reason why I'm so fearful of it. But what I know for certain is, once we understand what's in that genome itself, and I think that's the other thing that CRISPR is actually doing, is now mapping individual genomes now and seeing what's in the genome. The genome is basically the soup, I call it the soup, that the genes sit in. So if you eat a soup and there's not enough salt in it, you want to add more salt there to make sure that it tastes good. And that's what the gene, the actual DNA needs. It needs different bioactive nutrients to make sure it's going to do what it's supposed to do efficiently. So it won't express sickle cell genes as much. It won't express these cancers as much. It won't express, even metabolic disease like diabetes and cardiovascular disease, as rampant, because of the fact that we're not allowing our bodies to be infiltrated with all these things that create inflammation. So for me, as you said, slowly and surely we are all able to understand this. And a lot of the what we call biohacking, world that's all these new machines and these different therapies, whatever, we're all backing away from all that stuff and say, wait a minute, if we just do the 4 things: eat, sleep, have the proper supplements, and manage our stress well, we can live to be 120, no matter what condition it is. There are individuals and tribes in Africa that have full blown sickle cell disease, full blown SS, and they still have a beautiful life, live 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. Why? Because they're eating, they're resting, they're moving their body on a daily basis and keeping things very, very simple. Because again, different root, veggies actually have anti-sickling properties. So that's what you eat. You eat to be well, not for entertainment. So to answer that question, where does naturalistic medicine lie in there? Again, CRISPR has been doing a lot of research on natural, on herbs and different natural components on how to break those things down and how we can use these things to enhance our health versus using synthetic medicine. We know that synthetic medicine has a lot of side effects to it. So if we use things on a naturalistic standpoint, it's going to help the body heal faster without the side effects. That's the next realm.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ware. So is there anything else you would like to share? I'm also going to share with our viewing audience just before we close out. I want to make sure that they have your contact information. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on TOVA Talk Series today. And I want to make sure the viewing audience is able to contact you. I can't see your phone number here, but I have 954 458, and then that is
5999.
Okay, 954 458 5999. You have to schedule an appointment to have a consultation with Dr. Ware. He is also the author of Codes of Longevity. So please support Dr. Ware and the great work that he is doing. I thank you so much for coming on TOVA Tuesday. So before we end, Dr. Ware, I wanted to know if you had anything else to share.
And the only thing I would share with the audience is really about, our passions. Dr. Nina, has a huge passion for her community, whether it's sickle cell disease or just, diseases that really affect our community. And I would, say, please continue to support her in her efforts, because sometimes being the sole person doing things can be lonely. But the same token, knowing that we have extra support is always, the best way to go. For me, thank you all for joining and it's just listening. If I can just have a few moments of your time and just to educate you on the possibilities of your health. And I think Dr. Nina and I share the same sentiment. We can just, have a few minutes of your time to help educate you on how you can be the best that you can be. That's the most things that we can actually be given by you as a patient and also as a customer as well. So thank you for your time and thank you for your listening pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Ware. And I just want to say that we are planting seeds of possibilities. For 4 consecutive years, I've been named holistic medicine practitioner in Wilmington. So we're out there, we're doing the work, and it is starting to pay off. So again, I want to thank you for joining us today on TOVA Talk Series. If you like this episode, please donate to our Cash App at $TOVA Health. Our PayPal account is contact@tovacommunityhealth.org. I will see you back again where we engage with another leader and scholar in our community. Thank you and have a great day.